Hello everyone. It's been so cold here. It's the temperature. How's the temperature here? Temperature. It's so cold here. Look outside. It's been raining heavily yesterday and the day before yesterday, continuously for like 3 days, and at the same time, to make it worse, the electricity in the house, the cable, I think there's a problem, so we do not have electricity in the house. So I came here to the Channel Red Adventure studio, well, not in the preaching studio, but in one of the rooms to do the recording. Yeah, when it gets cold, it's very, very, very cold. You do not want to even get out of your room and go and do anything, but when it's hot, it's very hot. So anyways, we try to deal with the climate here. Anyways, today I have some very important, interesting current events to show you, and we'll be studying the book of Revelation chapter 17. But if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon so that you can receive more videos when it comes out. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends if you do like it too. Well, all that being said, we'll go into our presentation, so see you after the intro. Now, as I said earlier, our study will be on the book of Revelation chapter 17. There are a wide range of opinions on what consists of the beast of Revelation chapter 17, the seven dragons, and then the other issues that not only in the Adventist churches, there's a wide range of views. But what's very interesting, what I'm going to show in this presentation is that power that is in Revelation chapter 17 is actually at work today, and trying to, let me turn this off. Okay, the power in Revelation chapter 17 is already at work today and trying to control and manipulate the system. There's another power that the Bible predicts that will come into scene, which is explained in Revelation chapter 17, which I want to show. But before I show, I want to show the current events that will actually portray a group of people, probably you have heard of them, the New World Order. And what I'm going to show is that they have been prophesied to come into sin. It's a very prophetic movement as well. And how they play a part in the prophetic line of prophecy, we will be seeing that. Studying it from Revelation, as well as Daniel as well, to understand that. But let's begin with our current event. Before we do that, I'll ask all of you to close your eyes and we'll pray. Heavenly Father in heaven, thank you very much for giving us this day. Thank you for the opportunity to study your word. I pray that you touch my lips, speak to me, and speak through me. May the hearts that will be listening be touched, and may your name be glorified. May we do the necessary preparation that we can do. Understand the implications, the messages that we are supposed to learn from Revelation chapter 17, and see it in light of what is happening at the moment. Be with us in this presentation. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Now, the topic of this presentation is going to be New World Order, pandemic, not pandemic. Now, those who are subscribed to our channel already, you might have seen, especially those who understand pidgin, the Papua New Guineans. I did a video on coronavirus and some things that shows that there are powers that be that are controlling. Now, some of the slides that I'm going to put up on the screen are the same ones, but I'm going to go through them again so that I want to explain, bring even further. Now, let us see this article from Iran Daily. It says, coronavirus was produced in a laboratory. Former CIA intel officer. That's what former CIA intel officer says. A former American counter-terrorist specialist and military intelligence officer of the CIA has said that the coronavirus did not occur naturally through mutation, but rather was produced in a laboratory, possibly as a biochemical warfare agent. As a what? Biochemical warfare agent. Now we have the link on the screen as well. So this virus is being manipulated. It was created by the people. And if it was created by the people, there have to be a certain group of people. Who are they? And what kind of purpose do they have to play? Or what do they want to achieve? That's what we're going to see as well. Now, in the Washington Times, there's a title of an article that states, coronavirus or COVID-19, a crisis fit for a new world order. Crisis fit for what? A new world order. I'm going to read. It says, not only is America's economic crashing, not only have the world's producers come to a grinding halt. This is what we're going to come back to it a little later. Everything coming to a complete or grinding halt. But citizens are in fear. They don't know who or what to believe. They are hunkering in homes, and governments or the police are in the streets enforcing quarantine. Churches have closed the doors, some of them because they face the threat of fine and court actions if they don't. So you see, they are trying to force and bring people into a strict, complete control. Now, what I want to show, as I said, is to show that those things were created by people. But what is so interesting is it has already been planned. They said that these things are going to come into place. Now, this is a book from Dean Koontz. It was written in 1981. It was published in 1891. It was talking about a virus called Wuhan-400, a perfect weapon. A perfect weapon? Now remember what the guy said from the Iran Daily. It says, the coronavirus that was created in laboratory is possibly a biochemical warfare agent. So this Wuhan-400 is a perfect weapon. And you can read more about it. I'm not going to read everything about it. And in another place we saw, this article, it states, in around 2020, a severe pneumonia-like illness will spread throughout the globe, attacking the lungs and the bronchial tubes and resisting all known treatment. At the moment, they said there is no cure to coronavirus. Can you believe that? There is no cure. Now, the vaccine is coming out, but the vaccine, it's supposed not to be a cure, but it's a preventative measure. So everyone is supposed to get the vaccine. But the cure, a specific cure, there is no. And there is a lie. There are cures out there. But the mainstream media, but the powers that be do not want to tell us the cure for it. So this disease are taking the lung and bronchial tubes. It resists all known treatments. Now, who would have ever thought of a sickness that would come in the future just like this? Let me show you something else. The devil has basically, from what I see, has three ways of attacking a people. Firstly, he tries to present to you something good, to trick you into liking the thing. Now, if you do not fall for that, it will cause threats to you so that you will fall by threats. If you do not fall by threats, the third is he actually comes to implement the threats or persecute you, so that one, you will learn your lesson, and two, you will be a lesson for others to see, and then they will do what he wants. So this is the kind of government the devil wants. You see, this is what Adolf Hitler said, and he knew this very well. He said, terrorism is the best political weapon, for nothing drives people other than a fear of sudden death. And the kind of government that Adolf Hitler had, we know, he forced people to do what he wanted until his reign came to an end. When the people realized how dangerous he was, the Germans specifically, it was too late for them, until he himself took his own life after realizing that he was lost. He has lost the battle. Now, this is from Dick Cheney and Donald Rumsfeld. They said, Our plan will not take a long time to accomplish, absent from some catastrophic event such as a new Pearl Harbor. Now, if you know, this was actually written before 2001. And in the United States in 2001, we know about the Twin Tower, crashing down of the Twin Tower. You know, after the Twin Tower came crashing down, United States had very strict controlling measures, unlike before. They were controlling people very strictly, movement in and out of the country. And so this is what they want, a strict control of the people, of the economy, a kind of system that people do not have more rights. Now, this is a guy that we will be talking more in this presentation. It is David Rockefeller, one of those richest families in the world. 1% of the world's richest population owns almost the resources of the world. Now, this guy, David Rockefeller, is one of the filthy rich families in the world. They are connected with the central banks of the world. They are behind the big pharmaceutical companies. They are behind mainstream medias. There's only one of them. There's Henry Kissinger, Rockefeller, Rothschild. There's a good handful of them. They are families, filthy rich families that are connected to it. But I want to tell you to remember these names so that we'll come back to some articles that was written by the Rockefeller Foundation. And this is what he said. This present window of opportunity during which a truly peaceful and interdependent world order might be built will not be open for too long. We are on the verge of a global transformation. All we need is a right major crisis and the nation will accept the new world order. So what are they trying to bring? They are trying to bring about a new world order, but how are they going to achieve that? Through a perfect crisis. You know, they do not have the truth. They are working with the devil. They do not have the truth. So what they will use is a lie backed with threats. Do you see that? That is what they are going to push to the people. So before they bring in the new world order, they have to come up with the perfect crisis. Now, this is another family as well. I mean, by the way, this is to show that the Rockefeller is also working with the Vatican. Those filthy rich people of the earth are working closely with the Vatican. Vatican partners with pro-abortion Rockefeller Foundation on food waste meeting. This is from the LifeSite magazine. The Holy See and the pro-abortion Rockefeller Foundation teamed up for a conference on food waste this week. So they came into a union. Now, how would you do business with someone or enter into a relation with someone unless you have a relation, some common interest? And two cannot come together unless they are in unity. They have one purpose. Now, do you remember in Revelation chapter 18, it talks about the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the air are wax rich through the abundance of her delicacy. These people who are filthy rich, actually they are backed up by the Vatican City. They have strong ties with the Vatican City. Some people think that they control the Pope, but it's the other way around. The Pope is behind them, supporting them, and everything that happens, it comes out of the Vatican. It's well planned there. And this is to show you just another example again, and we will continue on. The Rothschild, as I said, I did not have time to go through all of them. Pope explains his economic model, promoting development and not just immediate benefits. So every time they go to the Pope, they meet with him, they discuss what is to come in the future and how they are to tackle all those issues and what are they going to do. And then they start funding all the governments around the world, the institutions, and then this is how they work together. Now, I want to show under the red arrow, you can see there's a lady there. Lady Lynn Foster de Rothschild, one of the family members of the Rothschild, walking with the papacy. They are closely linked. Now, so you think those things that are happening are just coincidence? No, there's no coincidence. Everything comes out from the Vatican. That is the intelligence center of this dark movement that is around the world. The papacy is more the bright side of it, but the dark side of it is those people working, funding the organizations, the United Nations, the World Health Organizations. They are the kind of like the spy group. They see everything, and then that is how they extend the control around the world. Now, I'm going to show that the coronavirus, it has been fabricated. I'm not saying that this virus is not false. Don't get me wrong. This virus exists. But some of the figures that are being generated, the method in which to combat the sickness, I do not have time to go into that. It's false, doesn't work. They're saying there's no cure. It's a lie. There is cure. Now, this is I have under my possession a magazine. If you guys want it, just send me a message and tell me that you want it with your email in the description below. Or you can write to me on send it to me on my WhatsApp message, WhatsApp contact that will be posted up on the screen at the end of the video. This I have under my possession. It's titled Hestrick and the Chariot Race. This one was supposedly published in October 19, 2017. This is before coronavirus came out, right? Now, see what happened. The comic actually paints a supposed champion from the Rome. Here comes our favorite, straight from Rome, the champion with blah, 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 some names that are there. And then at the bottom you see the great coronavirus. Who would have thought about coronavirus in 2017? Coincidence? I mean, even to this date, I still question why did they give the name of that virus coronavirus? Do you even come across that? Something to study about. But let me show you what is happening on the picture. If you see on the far left, on the top, there's a few group of individuals, a few people who seem to be a wealthy class that is cheering for this coronavirus. On the far right are the crowds, everyone. But you know what is happening? See what's happening. They're being controlled by the military, the arms. They're pushing them. They happen to be pushing them. Is that what is going on right now? Everyone is under strong lockdown. They're controlled strongly by the military. Friends, this was predicted to happen. Wow, when I saw that, I said, man, this is truly something. Now, that's not the only thing. I'm going to show you something. Now, and then the comic goes on to say, you see people screaming, coronavirus, 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 blah, blah, blah. I don't have time to go through all of it, but you see the picture, you understand, you get the picture that I'm trying to paint. Now, I'm going to go into another article, another document that I have under my possession, which I'll put on the screen. It's titled Scenarios for the Future of Technology and International Development. This is a document written by the Rockefeller Foundation. It was written in 2010. In 2010, but they wrote about it as something to come in the future. You see, it's scenario for the future of technology. They're painting what is supposed to happen in the future. Now, read through this, we'll read through this article, and you tell me if that scenario, the situation, is not actually happening at the moment. It's a 54-page document, but I will be reading on page 18. The title states, Lockstep. It seems to be telling us that, them telling me that it's the steps in the lockdown process, what's going to happen. Now, if you see on the screen, right on the top, there's a cameras. being set up, civilian system, monitoring system. Look under the word lockstep. It states a world of tight top-down government control and more authoritarian leadership with limited innovation and growing citizens pushback. That's what they want. A totalitarian, authoritarian kind of government that strictly controls everything that is happening. Now, we'll go into the article. Let me just read some. I will not read everything. If you want the document, send me a message. Now, in 2012, the pandemic that the world has been anticipating, they said that in 2012, but I think that is what's happening right now, the coronavirus pandemic. The pandemic that the world has been anticipating for years finally hit, unlike 2009 H1N1. Its new influenza strains originating from wild geese was extremely virulent and deadly. Even the most pandemic-prepared nations were quickly overwhelmed when the virus struck around the world, infecting nearly 20% of the global population and killing 8 million in just 7 months. The majority of them healthy young adults. The pandemic also had a deadly effect on economies. International mobility of both people and goods screeched to a halt, debilitating industries like tourism and breaking global supply chain. Even locally, normally bursting shops and office buildings sat empty for months, devoid of both employees and customers. Is that what's going on right now? I believe so. Look, the international mobility of people and goods has come to a complete halt. Some weeks ago, me and my family were planning to go back to PNG, but then they canceled the flights. Why? Everything is being strictly controlled. Now, shops and office buildings sitting empty for months, devoid of both employees and customers. It has been told that it's going to happen. Now, let's continue reading. The pandemic blanketed the planet. Through disproportionate numbers died in Africa, South America, and Central America, where the virus spread like wildfire in the absence of social containment protocol. But even in developed countries, containment was a challenge. The United States' initial policy of strongly discouraging citizens from flying proved deadly in its leniency, accelerating the spread of the virus not just within the United States, but across borders. However, a few countries did fare better, China in particular. The Chinese government's quick imposition and enforcement of mandatory quarantine for all citizens, as well as its instant and near-active sealing off of all borders, saves millions of lives, stopping the spread of the virus far earlier than in other countries and enabling a swifter post-pandemic recovery. Now, do you guys see what is being painted here? Well, what they're saying is some things that are happening, right? The control of the flights, flying, and then it talks about the control system. The country that they are promoting here, what's the country? China. What kind of government does the Chinese have? A communist system of government. Authoritarian, strict authoritarian kind of government. And that is what they're promoting. They're saying, because they have all these kind of messes, they're able to control it. Now, tell me, do you think that kind of government is good? What the citizens lack is freedom of speech, freedom of conscience. They do not have liberty of conscience. Christians are being persecuted there. That is the kind of government that China has. But these people are promoting that kind of government. Because why? Because that is their purpose. They want to have a government, their kind of government, the one world order is that kind of government. the Chinese government's quick imposition and enforcement of mandatory quarantine for all citizens. They are saying that it stops the sealing of all borders saved millions of lives. That's what they're saying. And in fact, that is indeed what happened. But the kind of government in itself is not the kind of government that God would send, not the kind of government that gives freedom of speech, liberty of conscience to the people. Now, look at this next part. This is the last quote that I have from them. China's government was not the only one that took extreme measures to protect its citizens from risk and exposure. During the pandemic, national leaders around the world flexed their authority and imposed airtight rules and restrictions, from the mandatory wearing of face masks and body temperature checks at the entries to communal places like train stations and supermarkets. Even after the pandemic faded, this more authoritarian control and oversight of citizens and their activities stuck and even intensified in order to protect themselves from the spread of increasingly global problems, from pandemic and transnational terrorism to environmental crisis and rising poverty. Leaders around the world took a firmer grip on power. Do you see that? I mean, who would have imagined in the future this disease is going to come, and descriptively explaining the kind of disease that we have at the moment, and actually the measures that are being placed, airtight restrictions, body temperature checks at every communal places, face mask. You see that? That is what they have planned and sent it out. That is why I'm saying that coronavirus was created in laboratories, carried out and pushed by the powers be, so that they can pull people into subjection, into strict, tighter control. You see that? That is what's happening at the moment. Now, how strict is it? How far-reaching is this power? I mean, the control. We see this in South Australia. I think it's in Victoria. This is in the Constitution. They made amendments. The coronavirus COVID-19 emergency response. What are they going to do? Removal of children, to the point that they can come to your house, knock on the door, remove your children from you. That is how strict they're going to be. You do not even have rights over your own children. Wow. I wouldn't want a government like that. Without derogating from Section 25, an authorized officer may, for the purpose of ensuring compliance with any direction under that section, remove a child from any premises, place, vehicle or vessel of a place of residence or a place of residence, to a place of residence of the child, or to the hospital or quarantine facility. So there are quarantine facilities being built. As the authorized officers think fit, and may in doing so use such force as is reasonably necessary. Really? Forcing parents, forcing the kids, removing by force children from their parents. Now, this is a document that I have in my possession as well. If you want it, tell me and I will send it to you. It's found in page 33. And this is what someone said. This is a former Australian Army Special Force Lieutenant Colonel. I'll play the video and you'll see.
Then they're coming for your kids, folks. And I have a very bad feeling that a lot of you are going to find this out the hard way. They will knock on your door and say, we suspect that you haven't been tested, therefore we're going to take your kids from you now. And the police will take them away. And you'll be standing there slack-jawed, wide-eyed, trying to figure out, what do I do now? Well, it's too late, folks, because they've taken your kids. And it gets back to your point, save your family, save the country. The two are the same. And they will take your children. Now, if you fight the coppers, you're arrested and you lose you're locked up.
Do you see how strict it is? Some of us are going to realize when it is too late. They'll knock on the door, open up the house, remove our kids from us, and then we'll realize how serious this thing is. They are creating a government that removes your rights from yourself, separating families. You do not have any rights. Whatever they tell you to do, you have to follow. Friends, we're going to go into Revelation chapter 17, but let me tell you, what is our message in this scenario? Get out of the cities. Those who are still in the cities, friends, you got to watch out because something big is coming for you. Those who are in the countries, they have more freedom and they will be at liberty to move around. They won't be strictly controlled. Whereas those in the city, they don't have much right. When the government comes, break down your doors, remove your children from you, that is when you're going to realize that you have no rights. You are being controlled. You have been controlled by this Babylonian system.